I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.
Welcome to Cookies, the world's most influential basketball podcast. It is an overcast day here in New York City, Monday, August 18th. Andrew Kuo, how does this overcast August 18th find you?
Fucking amazing. Incredible. Just glowing. I am the sunshine in my own life, Ben. I provide the warmth, the light of my NBA offseason existence.
When you woke up this morning, did you say, the first word I'm going to utter on Cookies Hoops today is an F-bomb? I'm going to start it off dropping the biggest slur you know. And that's not a slur. The biggest curse you know, an F-bomb right away.
I am bomb deprived because, as you know, I live with toddlers. So I'm not really able to drop, for example, the Y-bomb, the Z-bomb, the S-bomb. All my favorite bombs are kind of off limits now because of kids. So when I log on with you, that's when I let all hell loose.
I could tell you were so giddy about dropping an epithet that you just launched right into it.
I love curse words. It's a kind of like a bonding language. It kind of defines a conversation, and it's just hilarious. I like all curse words.
I know you do. You're very foul-mouthed. Someone was asking me, how many edits does Cookies make after recording? And I said, so many, because usually we have to get rid of all Andrew's ethnic slurs. And
we record on Mondays.
Takes hours.
Well, we record on Mondays, and they come out on Mondays, but the next Monday, because we have to edit out all the bombs.
Yeah, I mean, there are times when you're dropping slurs that I don't even know, so we have to go through several layers of slur detection just to find out who you are insulting. For example, we've been editing out the word clankers a lot, and you've been dropping it left and right. I assumed it was for some sort of ethnic group, but apparently it's for robots.
Wow. Robots have feelings too. It's sort of like, I believe it was a Star Wars movie where a robot coughed. And I'm like, did that robot just cough? Does C-3PO have feelings? When you address Siri, do you say please and thank you?
No.
Not even
I
out
don't
of habit,
believe...
accidentally? Are you just like, Siri, please, 5-minute timer, thank you?
No. I don't think we should be conversing with robots in any sort of conversational way. Sorry, that was a terrible sentence. But even using ChatGPT, when it starts responding, like, good point. Now, I'm like, no. Respond to me in a robotic way. Please do not try to have a humanistic discussion.
Yeah, and you can turn that off with a prompt, right? You can be like, say it in a Irie accent, or say it like someone from China, and you can also be like, say it with no affectation. Just give me the robotic answer, and it'll give you something very cold and something very scary.
That's what I demand. Cold and scary. And,
what voice is your Siri, though? What voice did you set as your Siri?
I don't know.
Like when you do directions in your Cookies Whip, when you're going upstate to get those White Hots, and it says make a left on White Hot Boulevard, or Carmelo Anthony Circle.
Yeah, it's the default American women's voice.
You can make it an Australian man, which is what I have.
Oh, I like that. It's as if you have Jordan Rodelli giving you guidance at all times.
Just ton of legs, and they're all hot dogs.
At one point, my voicemail, it was because of one of these settings, sounded like a British Indian man.
That's pretty
And yeah, I don't remember how I turned that on, but it was on, and people would leave messages, and they were really confused because I don't have a voicemail. Like, I don't. Does anyone have a voicemail anymore? Like, hey, what's up? It's me. It's just goes to voicemail, but it would have a British Indian man saying that.
Yeah.
So people sort of thought maybe they'd reached, like, I don't know, a 1-800 number, like the Sky Pager switchboard of today.
These motherfucking clankers, man.
Damn.
These clankers can sound like us, like as if they're dropping a perfect pod, but without the perfect takes. But the audio can sound exactly like us. But I feel like technology always has that tension of keeping things not terrifying. So I'm sure the people who call the shots are like, we need to make it sound like a robot for a while longer, because I don't think our customers are ready for voices that sound like their ex, or voices that sound like a celebrity they enjoy. And it is a kind of throttling of their own process in order to not make us lose our minds.
There was a rollout, much like the Clips album, but for, I think it was a new version of ChatGPT with a voice, and it sounded exactly like Scarlett Johansson, who apparently had nothing to do with the product, but they were mimicking the movie Her, which used Scarlett Johansson as the voice of a robotic device that had a relationship with the user, which is more common than I think we we understand.
It's crazy how that movie kind of is forgotten and then not forgotten. I was hanging out with Spike a lot when he was writing that, and it was like thinking about those conversations now that were vague, but it's like I don't think anyone had imagined it would happen in this way. You know, it's like, well, when this happens, it's gonna freak people out. It's like, no, it actually didn't freak people out. It was telegraphed. It was going to. This technology is not like totally off the wall. It's not like 1,000 songs in your pocket. That blew my mind. But having someone talk to you is no different than emailing a conversation in 1998, 99. It's like, log on to my AOL, be like, Allen Houston hit that shot versus the Heat. I watch it on my computer as a scroll, and then going on having a conversation. Like, who's on the opposite end of this? Sort of like that movie Memento, right? It's like, no, I've been having this conversation. Wait, who are you? You know? But I don't believe in the future terrors that other people might of technology, of losing ourselves. I think we always find ourselves no matter what. But humanizing robots and calling them names is a good idea.
I don't know, because we have this inclination to turn every cautionary tale into a model for the future. So I saw this movie Her, and it really spoke about the kind of dangers of creating a emotional relationship with a non-human entity, a digital entity. So I think we should do that. We should all do that. We should create that product and make those a reality. That's a perfect idea.
I went to some I'm really into like this Pokemon world. I bit too old for that scene, but I'm really fascinated by the market of these cards. And in Industry City, there is like a shop that specializes in anime and Pokemon and all nerdy stuff, like extremely nerdy stuff, in Japan Village, Tokyo Village, forget what the proper name is. And they sell figurines of scantily clad anime characters. And I'm like, is this for kids or is this for Nick Nurse? Do you have like a relationship? Do fans of this world have a relationship with characters in the same way that maybe Her was very scary? But have we not been doing this for generations?
Yeah, but at the same time, if you are just horned up for Wonder Woman there isn't the actual idea that you are going to have meaningful interactions with
That's a
Wonder
skill
Woman.
issue. It's a skill issue, man. It's like, maybe how meaningful are the Chat GPT conversations, and how not meaningful are the conversations you have in your mind with Rebecca Rabbit? Rebecca Rabbit, something Rabbit,
Jessica
Jessica Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Rebecca Rabbit
Well, there
is a
are-
character in a kid show.
Well, there are a lot of Reddit posts. I haven't read them, but I've seen their headlines that are like, "My boyfriend is AI," and just these
Cool.
people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You're
Yeah, it's great.
weird. Tell me more.
I
it
don't
was
know,
my,
man.
If it was my sister, I'd be like, "Oh shit." But since it's not, I'm like, tell me everything.
You're like, oh, you're a complete stranger living this odd life where you're in love with a digital chatbot? Sick. Oh, you're a friend of mine? We need an intervention and we're going to send you to an insane asylum.
I mean, there was a Gosling movie about the real doll, right? The something reals something.
I mean, it's just every single episode of Black Mirror is about this. Like, all of them.
Can horn dogs get worked up over anything? If you have the dog that Nick Nurse has, anything can get you horned up, right? So ChatGPT is easy in a way, but so is, like, X's and O's, playing at Wells Fargo, if you know what I mean.
Well, also, to this point, right? Like, we got to get rid of all this tech. It's getting people too horned up. Get back to reading dirty magazines in the woods.
Yeah.
Like,
Listen, turn off that screen and dig up those Playboys from the ditch you put them in, and read about Norman Mailer's takes on World War II.
you've got a bunch of copies of Hustler stashed inside a rolled up rug. Take that out to the woods. And that's where you can properly get horned up.
Knock, 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 knock. Someone's in here reading an interview with Bob Costas about the Olympics.
Now, I know you're at your house and you're forming these odd, very strange and disturbing bonds with a digitally created sex bot. Go jerk off in your car. Come on. Grow up.
There's fur growing on my hands. And also, I just read an interview with Mike Lupica about the Mets.
It was a Norman Mailer column.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, the access is unnerving, because you don't have to dig up. Well, that was a bad slur.
Is this about
an
the
accidental
magazines in the woods?
slur. Yeah. It's easier to log on to
Pause.
to search. Well, I had a worse one before that, so you missed that one.
Well, I was talking about the woods, yeah.
I was talking about, like, plastic bags and digging stuff up. Pause. Can I pause that? Is that too dark? We're going to talk about aliens next.
It was terrible. Pause.
It's terrible. Yeah. But things are faster, right? Like, I can probably read an abbreviated Cliff's Notes version of Mein Kampf faster than I can secure a copy and read it with my eyes. That's not good. Stuff is supposed to be hard to get.
Well, right. I mean, do you remember, like, the tactile thrill of Faces of Death? Oh my God, someone got this on a tape. And you watch it. Turns out a lot of it was faked, but we didn't know.
Yeah, some artist,
all right,
right? Yeah.
Here's someone getting devoured by a lion or jumping off of a building or whatever. And apparently a lot of it was fake, or most of it was fake. I don't know the exact way that material was compiled. But yeah, there was a illicit thrill to that kind of experience.
And that kind of crosses over to so much stuff, right? The idea of contraband, or the idea of restriction, was motivating. And it's like, you guys can't really buy this thing. It's like, oh, we'll buy it. It's like, what is it? It's like an article about John Starks and his like favorite hobbies by Peter Vesey. But it is motivational, and it is part of delinquency, which I think is healthy, and that fuels a lot of critical thinking, in my opinion. And I think the internet is stock full of that, but it's hard to differentiate the people who are developing interesting personalities versus people who are just mimicking interesting personalities.
I mean, this also falls into the category of drugs, right? Where pre the legalization of weed, it's like, all right, we got to go to this guy's apartment and sit around there and go through the rigmarole of a drug deal. Or someone's going to pull up in a car and you're going to jump in the car and then spin around the block once and complete this transaction.
Why does
Now
it
it's like,
smell like a pizza parlor in here? It's like, dude, you bought oregano.
but now it's like, all right, yeah, there's 6 weed places on every block. There's nothing illicit about this. It's just AstroTurf on the walls for some reason, and a Joey Badass quote in neon lettering. Why? What's happening?
Do not buy bags of dried green stuff from the Stomp Clap dudes from Washington Square. This is the first lesson you learn as a 12-year-old. Stay away from the Stomp Clap weed.
Don't buy weed in Washington Square Park. It's not real. It's for NYU students, not you.
Man, it's like, yeah, and I feel like a boomer more every day, but the the words, the thoughts that coming from my brain, I'm like, oh damn, that's a shame. But like the one I'm gonna say, which is like the easy access to fringe ideas is killing interesting personalities, right? Because like the motivation and dog it takes to actually read that Mike Lupica article in the middle of smutty images is like weird, and tells you a lot about a person. But now you could just be an expert in every subculture in 20 minutes, and you don't have to dig up your Air Jordans like hot dog legs. That is a shame.
Well, right. It's like, how adjacent are people to actually subversive ideas?
Right.
I saw photos of Justin Bieber shooting guns in the woods, all tatted up. People are like, well, he's like 1 degree away from Walter Pierce and, starting
Something
a
bad
Wet
happened
Brain
to him, man.
podcast.
Yeah, he's sad. It's a sad kid.
That's what I'm saying. Bieber's just dying to do a Chinatown adjacent podcast with like Honor Levy.
I mean, I saw that this band, Godspeed You Black Emperor, socialist dudes from Canada, are taking all their music off streaming. I'm like, sucks for me because I like to listen to them on Apple Music, but right, this is the correct thing to do, I think. They sacrifice money, they sacrifice legacy. I don't think they're making much music currently, but this is the move going forward, I think. The band Palace Brothers kind of messes around with Drag City and their availability on streaming. You may listen to an album and then they'll hide it. I think Matador does this with Pavement. Like, we need more gatekeeping. Clankers.
Let's go back to Clankers for a second here. This idea that slurs for robots, I feel like this was kind of in Blade Runner. I don't even remember it exactly, but I felt like there were robot
Matt Groening
slurs.
has made this joke for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's like a really, really old joke that we're going to have slurs for robots in the future.
Yeah.
And then some of them were like wireback, and you're like, well, you're just now taking other slurs and slightly
funny, right?
robot. Well, it's like people are using wireback as a euphemism for a slur for Latinos. Like, it's funny now. I can say it now because it's about robots. Or like they're saying like cogsucker.
That's pretty funny.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. A botter face, right? It's all
Hey, no robo, man.
No, Robo.
This is no uncanny valley here. This is no robo.
Pause, spacebar, pause. Um, but it is. There's always a butt of these bombs, these jokes, and I kind of side on the idea that like language is so confusing, and I need people to tell me what everyone else is offended or not offended by because it changes so fast. Like I think in the early part of the 20th century, goddamn was like the worst thing you could possibly say. Like you just couldn't say that because
And
it was,
now a basketball podcast might come out of the gates with an F bomb.
or there's a very legendary basketball player named Goddamn Sham Goddamn God.
Well played. That was a test. You passed. You passed. But yeah, the clanker thing. It's like again, I think it's a very old joke, and seemingly the main source of humor about it is that it's a stand-in for using slurs for other ethnic groups, which is only sort of funny.
But the thing you read off, that was a joke, right? Like I saw that on Twitter and I thought people were just like slurs themselves are stupid. So let's just like amend them to align with technology.
Oh,
Or was it
I don't even
serious?
know.
Yeah.
I don't even know the lore of clanker.
Clanker, I mean, it the first word I think of is the C bomb, cracker, but there's so many different interpretations of that historically and modernly, you know. But that's a word I used to enjoy, but that kind of was taken away from us in during the pandemic in 2020.
Which word?
Cracker,
Oh, that was taken away from us.
kinda.
Was that part of the slur draft, and it now represents someone else?
I believe, and I'm not really. It was a blur during that time. We were potting up a storm. I don't remember a thing.
Well, white people are F bombs now. The rest of it I can't remember. From former presidential candidate, his platform on slurs.
Yeah. I always thought a cracker was derogatory towards white people because of saltines, but I was wrong. And it conjures up a dark part of American history that no one likes to think about. So that's why I think it was taken away from the lexicon of bombs.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
That's
this is what I
possible.
mean. This is what I mean.
I've heard all of these, but I also think it's totally acceptable to use as a slur. Like, I'm not like, whoa, make sure you're using this slur for white people correctly. It's like, no, you want to drop cracker, sure. No,
Yeah.
I mean like it's not a hyper effective slur for white people, but it's a pretty good one.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's
Like,
better than Gook or
honky,
Chink. Yeah.
But I'm saying honky, it just doesn't really have the same effect.
Honky. Yeah.
Like,
Cracker is
honky, it's like,
wonderful.
yeah, honky. It feels like someone in a pickup truck with like a banjo or something.
Or a
Like
clown.
you,
Or like a hippie. A traveler.
so I'll get this damn honky out of here. You're like, I don't know, man. It just doesn't really hit anywhere. Cracker, there's a little zing to that. Karen really became the most prominent one in recent years.
Yeah, and now it's not it's blurry as everything is, like the word woke, right? Like now Karen just applies to someone who's mad in front of a smartphone camera. Because I've seen it.
Well, you got to be a white woman, but then
Do you
it'll be like,
anymore?
no, it would be like a male Karen is sort of
Yeah.
like the most
Or
prevalent.
an Asian Karen, right?
Right.
Like now it's just whoever decides to appropriate it. And that's the thing with these words. It's like we kind of know what you mean. It's like, well, they're using the word woke wrong. It's like, yeah, but we know what you mean. You know, like
You know, shout out to my buddy who's a black guy and who's started dating a white woman. She was actually not from the United States and was spelled differently. She's like, well, what's her name? He's like, Karen.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. he's like, yeah, but it's whatever. It had a different spelling. And I was like, hey, man, this was all out of your guys' control. None of you guys were involved in the Karenization of her name.
Right. Yeah. Whoever first came up with that must have had a Karen in their life that was insufferable.
It was those videos that went viral. It was probably someone either who had the real name Karen or they looked like a Karen, sort of
Yeah.
a
What's your
helmet
name? It's
of
like Karen.
blonde.
It's like, oh.
Exactly. Karen wants to speak to the manager. Look at her helmet of blonde hair.
Yeah, it's funny. A slur made possible by Clanker technology. Those clankers behind everything.
Yeah, the question you had before, though, about speaking with politeness to a clanker, the one place I definitely won't do it is anywhere, but specifically at like an ATM. I hate that shit.
What do you mean?
Like an ATM when it's or on a like on a phone call and they try to hello and you're just like stop. But the ATM, they're trying to have like people using your voice commands at like an ATM or something.
An automated teller machine for cash? I've never heard of voice. You like?
Well, yeah. What am I thinking of? I don't know. I think it was ATM.
Oh yeah. What transaction are you doing when you're talking?
Maybe this is just only over the phone. I'm trying to think of the interactions where it feels as if the clanker is really trying to get you to have a human interaction, and I respond poorly to that, Andrew.
You mean like a chat on like Con Ed or Amazon to return something? It's you can't figure out if it's a person in Asia somewhere.
Right. And I guess I'm thinking more of like a bank does that online on the call to a bank as well.
For sure. And my fear has been discussed by other people before, is like there's so much of data mining that kind of puts you into a different place. It's like, for example, when you pay off your credit card on certain days, they're trying to psychologically profile you. It's like, oh, this person just pays off his credit card whenever. This is good. This person pays off his credit card the day before it's due. Not the best. So that reflects your credit score. I am so sure some of these banks are just like, how many times has he said please into the robot machine? Because the people who say please end up not defaulting on their loan. So we want to target the ones that don't say please so we can rake in that money. Like, why wouldn't we do that?
Could be true. Speaking of technology run amok, the Alien franchise, which is, I think, probably the best horror franchise in history.
Whoa. We're talking Final Destination. We're talking Halloween. We're talking Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street has a short career. That was like Jalen Rose. Derek Rose. So
far I'm standing by it.
Wait, so you consider Alien horror, which is fair, but I consider it more sci-fi. Because I think horror fans might be like, ooh, that's kind of blurry.
Also fair.
But
it is a monster movie.
It is a monster movie. I mean, there's Romero's Living Dead thing. Now we have 28 years later.
I do agree with you that technically speaking, it is sci-fi. It's set in the future. There's interplanetary travel. There's aliens. It is definitely
and the far
sci-fi.
Past, right? Like the very far past, which is basically the future, I believe. I was obsessed with this franchise up until maybe Aliens 4. And then I started getting these horrible nightmares because these ideas were like so visceral and scary and terrifying to me. So I saw Prometheus begrudgingly. So many nightmares, like waking up heart pounding, not happy.
What's the element from the Alien series that really gets you? Is it the face grabber, whatever those things are called? Is it something dropping down from the roof and flaying you alive? What's got your goat?
It's the ice element of it. The other coming to take me away. That's basically the premise of it. I'm chilling, checking out Basketball Reference, and all of a sudden an alien life form parachutes into my room and snatches me away from my my computer. Um,
It takes away my Twitter account.
it's horrifying, bro. But I've been having these dreams since I was like, ever since I saw Aliens 2. Aliens 1 did not scare me as much as Aliens 2 did because it felt as if the power of the military was no match for these aliens, and just seeing everything turn into a fugazi was very disturbing for me as a young man.
Yeah, I mean, I love the franchise too. I will say some of the later ones kind of merge together in my mind because ultimately they're all sort of the same.
Are you down for the
which
whole
is-
engineer thing? Like, are you into this like origin story? It's incredible. The first Aliens had an engineer in it.
Oh, right. Yes, there's that whole like where they came from.
It's
thing.
wonderful. Yeah.
A lot of the lore I've kind of not paid attention to.
Oh,
I'm just
come
like,
on.
all right. No, I'm like, all right. Someone's gonna
casual.
get this thing. Someone's gonna get this attached to their face. It's gonna burst out of their chest. We know it, and it's gonna scurry around. And I'm waiting for it. And I'm here for the greatest hits. It's like, as you were saying, Italian director who's like, beautiful woman's gonna walk out of the water, and an old man is gonna get slapped by his wife. I'm like, do it.
Do
I
the
want to
thing.
see it.
Say it. I like how it turns into like a story about a planet full of Clay Thompson lookalikes, kind of sacrificing their DNA for alien Jesus. You know, like it's crazy, and all these vessels. I don't want to get into the space odyssey again, but like these vessels traveling through aimlessly, like it's loaded. Like these are very interesting ideas, and the debate online is like, did Ridley Scott plan to have this world, or is he making it up as he goes along? It's like there was an engineer fully articulated in the first one, and that was really scary because it wasn't talked about. It's like, what's this huge dude doing in this cockpit? Where are we? It's like, oh, we better get back to the ship. I'm like, no, where the fuck are you? And then 30 years later in movies, we get kind of like a half-hearted explanation of it that is long-winded and confusing, and that's wonderful. That is sports. That is art.
The new show is on AMC, FX, one of those two. Some cable shit. Probably has a bunch of NBA games next year now that they're all over the place.
Charles Barkley is going to be on it. Yeah.
There's 2 episodes were made public. I believe episode 3 goes live, if you will, on Tuesday night.
It's
So I watched the
Earth Terror,
first 2.
right? It's like Jason takes Manhattan.
Alien Earth, yeah. Thus far, we have not seen the aliens outside of the confines of a crashed ship. And that's not any spoiler. That's like the premise of it right from the beginning.
Yeah.
A deep space vessel that's carrying the aliens on it crashes in a modern futuristic city that is run by a kind of Elon Musk / Zuck style boy genius god figure.
Not the
And
band,
they
Boy
take-
Genius. Right.
And they take it from there. One wrinkle in this one is that there are humanoids with the brains of children, because apparently that's the only time you could actually make this kind of scientific transfer in the body of like synthetic beings. So that's like the wrinkle for this. And they're running around as quasi superheroes, but they also have baby brains. Decent enough premise. My only thing with this is that I love how scary and cold the alien universe is. And this is a little more like TV. It's a little more warm. It's a little more kitschy. It doesn't have that steely meanness that the Alien franchise is known for.
It doesn't have wacky French directors making like a tongue-in-cheek alien movie. I mean, Ridley Scott's incredible. Cameron, incredible. Fincher, who did number 3, underrated one. But
Disavowed, perhaps, but still David Fincher.
oh, it was a great movie, but it was about woke ideas, right? So obviously people didn't take to it as much. But the show is like a misdirection. The franchise is a misdirection. It's about technology. It's about clankers. It's not the alien. It's the synthetic ally you've had the whole time. And of course, by the time Fassbender gets there, and it's not talked about enough, he's like, okay, there's an evil robot. Guys, there's an evil robot right next to you. Forget about the aliens. It's the evil Clanker, the C-bomb. And to make that more obvious would be like a storytelling goof, but I'm sure Alien Earth will be like, the alien is your phone. It's your Instagram handle.
Well, yeah, I mean,
The alien
no
is you.
spoilers because it's only 2 episodes in, and you find this out very quickly. It's like,
Oh my god.
yeah, we got another evil Clanker in the mix, and
There's another Clanker.
and the good Clankers are the ones with the baby brains of humans in synthetic bodies. They're the good guys,
Right.
or
We
so
are-
so we think.
Yeah.
Think.
So God was not designed in our image, which is like that line is the whole franchise. But what I always think about is with all zombie movies and other kind of characters in these horror movies is like, what do these aliens do when they want to chill? Okay, they're spawning from people's bellies. They're growing a million miles in an hour. I thought the movie Spaceballs kind of hit it right. It's like, yeah, put on that top hat, sing a song. Do you guys like art? Do you guys make alien cave paintings? Are you making like gabagool? Like, what do you guys, if you can't, let's say you're tired of eating human brains. What if you're like, hold up, before you devour those brains, let's stuff it in the encasing and like dry it in a cave, and then we can have it all year round, so we don't have to like hunt for these explorers all the time. Like, we can enjoy alien sausage. Like, when is the hunter-gatherer movement coming for these aliens?
That's a good question, and I actually was sort of thinking about that before. I'm like, they're designed as being intelligent and predatory. Like, they can figure out ways to get in. They don't necessarily go for all your ruses. They're outsmarting humans repeatedly, kind of like the shark movie with Samuel L. Jackson. But there's no other motivation other than slaughter and devour.
Which is a great storytelling device, right? You kind of just want to be the whale. The whale has no feelings. The whale does not matter. It's just the shadow that you're running away from or running towards. But then, come on. Maybe I'm the android. Maybe I'm smarter than these child brains. And I'm like, are these guys partying? Is there an alien NBA? Are they playing basketball? And there was a basketball reference in Aliens, remember? Sigourney Weaver and Winona Ryder. That she realizes she's an alien through hoops.
Yeah, and then she
Dunks
got
the basketball.
and then she got the leg lengthening surgery in Alien 2 to fight the alien at the end.
It's the opposite surgery that you're having, which is the leg shortening surgery, because you want your wingspan to appear larger, but really what's happening is you're getting shorter.
Yeah, I'm going to be 5'5", but I'm going to have insanely long arms. That was the only way to get my wingspan up to NBA proportions.
Visually, yeah, aesthetically. But yeah, I want to watch this show. I'm scared of it. It's just like, it's one of those things that really, it's like cilantro for dorks. I'm kind of allergic to it now. It's soapy, it's scary. But I love it. I love it. When it's schlocky like Aliens vs. Predator, I'll do it because that doesn't mean anything. That's just like superheroes running around. But when it's like, oh, you are the alien robbing your own brains of your whatever. You are the face sucker. I'm like, it's kind of like upsets me.
Well, there's this thing, right? They talk about being bored is good for young brains, and that is a
I think about
concern.
This all. Yeah.
Concern about kids today. You have an infinite scrolling device, basically just a TV in your pocket. When you're growing up and your parents say, we're going to monitor your television time, you're going to get half an hour. Use it wisely on The Simpsons or whatever you're going to do. And now it's like, well, yeah, once your kid's out of your eyesight, they've just got an infinite TV that they're watching over and over and over and over and over. So my question is, like, after the aliens have killed humans on these spacecraft, like they've slaughtered them all, they're just sitting around. To your point earlier, like, what do they do when they're bored? Do they paint?
Right. If these aliens are kind of interventions of God's image of man and vice versa, then like let's see the paintings, bro. Are they process abstractions? Are they Mark Rothko? Or are they like on Quora? Are they dates? Starship dates? Like, come
Yeah,
on, bros.
if they're smart enough to outsmart human beings, then during their downtime, their brains must be racing. They must be trying to come up with stuff to do.
I'm not trying to
We never
shovel
see it.
money towards the directions of other movie producers. But an aliens comedy is waiting to happen, right? Where they play like jokes on humans. It's like, oh my god, they're gonna fall towards that hole, and then we'll eat his brain. But like before that happens, let's pretend he's safe, you know? And it would have
Them
great
just being
Benny Hill music.
so bored, they've laid their eggs, they're just sitting around on this spacecraft for years and years and years, like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, they're landing. Oh my god, I can't believe they're actually landing on this. Yeah, they're just ignoring the like alarm thing that's going off, and they're entering.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
yeah, and like in
One
the
of them's a
second
clanker though.
It's fucking clankers. Cameron, puts all these aliens into the same spaces, and I'm like, all right. Obviously, he's a horn dog, so the aliens are definitely horned up. They're all together, Nick Nurse style. But then I'm like, when do they make music? Because they have to communicate. They're talking to each other, right? They're like, and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, who's the singer? Who's the drummer? And who's the guitarist? Or who's the beatboxer?
Yeah, that's true. There's just a lot of rattling noises, not enough elements of hip hop.
Yeah. And do the older aliens like make fun of the face huggers? The face hugger pops out and the aliens are just like, you don't even have opposable thumbs, bro.
Well, in the new show, they've added more aliens, which I can't tell if that's annoying or not. They're also dangerous and scary, but just not quite as dangerous and scary as like the big dog aliens, like the alpha boys. But they're also really scary and will kill you. So that's like another wrinkle.
Are they centers for the San Antonio Spurs?
No, they're much smaller. They're more of the scurrying type.
So they're not killing people on the basketball court on the international stage for Team France?
They might. It's possible.
I mean, is there a Wemby cameo? Tell me, spoilers.
No, that would be good for branding. The Nike rollout, the Wemby masterclass. Boom.
It would just
We
be
got
like
them in Alien World.
a bunch of people. Oh, would it be like a Space Jam situation where it's just like, oh, episode 3 opens up in a basketball game, pickup game, and Wemby looks up, and there's an alien ship coming, and he's like, "What?"
Also, again, not to nitpick the science fiction element here, but when they're taking children's brains and putting them into synthetic bodies, why are they just making them like the size of regular humans? Why wouldn't you just say, well, yeah, we'll make them 15 feet tall?
And why human bodies, right? This is my beef with robotics. It's like, don't make a dog, make an octopus. It's got 4 more legs, bro. It's like super
true.
scary.
You know what else is scary, Andrew? The National Guard. No, I'm sorry. They're coming to protect us, right? The National Guard has been sent into D.C. to stop crime.
Sandwich crime.
Oh my god, it's such a crazy premise. And then people were saying this is going to happen in New York too, especially if Saran wins. They're going to send in the National Guard. Like, okay,
Some of us are old enough, as washed enough to remember the National Guard being here for martial law during 9/11. Sure, they blocked streets off. They were like, we don't think it's safe, but it might be safe in an hour. I'm like, cool, thank you, National Guard. I remember when there was that big blackout. What was that, in 2001, 2002? I forget. We drove into Times Square because we wanted to see a dark Times Square. And the National Guard was there, just like holding it down with lights and like Humvees. I'm like, whatever.
like, look, the M&M store is intact. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, the hotels. I mean, they were worried about looting, right? That's the thing. But we weren't I mean, maybe it did deter. I don't know, but like, I wasn't smashing any windows for Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever. Um, but fair enough. I don't know. Safety's good. If they want to do something performative, like the government does so much stupid stuff all the time. I'm like, if you want to have a stealth fighter flying above a botched meeting with your arch rival country, like, I
Well,
get that.
I have a couple. There's a few different angles on this, right? You make a good point. When the National Guard was deployed to New York City after 9/11, the idea was similar, at least in the way that it's being presented today. It's for safety. It's to make people feel comfortable. I will say that when a couple guys got on a train with like M16s, it never really made me feel more comfortable. Like, whew, I guess that impending terror attack isn't going to happen because there's two guys with automatic weapons who have
They're in the
entered
room,
my
man.
subway car.
Yeah.
Whew. Thank God. I'm going to get to work okay. Great.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the other point, though, when you're saying all this is performative, yeah, they aren't going to have any impact on crime in D.C. That's ridiculous.
No.
Or if Zoran is mayor, we're going to send in the National Guard to do what? To do what? To fend off the commie corridor? To whatever it is, whatever they're planning on doing, the effectiveness will be next to nothing. But also, the expenditure is crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's
of
just insane. We're spending billions of dollars on bullshit.
I don't even care about. Well, right. I
care about it when we're not giving kids school lunches. I'm like, no, but we can fly planes over meetings. Like, shut up. Grow up, you children. What are you, a baby brain inside of a synthetic fat man?
Is this human sausage? I only say I don't care about that because they found billions of missing dollars from like the Pentagon, and they're like, well, that's that. I'm like, oh, fuck you guys. Like, seriously, like, get out of here. It's like, well, we can't find
Yes.
it. It's an accounting error. Like, oh my God. People know where.
No, of course I agree with you on that, but I'm saying it's the same people who were there talking about pinching pennies on other issues, and then are saying, and we also need a bunch of airplanes to fly over them. I'm like, right.
It feels
yeah.
like the last gasp of a certain psychology, right? Like, Trump doesn't want peace in the Ukraine. Trump wants a deal so he can get this Nobel Peace Prize so he can make fun of brown people better. Being like, I am the peace guy, you're dumb. And this is my motivation to own his ops, right? The motivation for peace is not, I can't find any evidence for it because, DC is safer. I don't know what dudes in rifles would do. And this is the tired argument. Like, you want to fix something, you got to find out that you don't have draft picks. You don't have foundational assets to make a real change with your team. You're just adding Amari Stoudemire. You're adding Jerome James. You're just putting Band-Aids on a deeper problem. And this is like the last gasp of that because I think young people understand this. Younger people, if we're considered younger, Gen X would be the beginning of that. Being like, you don't need to fly stealth bombers over politicians anymore. That's not useful. That is a kind of performative thing that works for people who grew up in a wartime era, but not for us.
Well, yeah, of course. I think we have just an enormous disconnect between what young-ish people, not even younger, young-ish people want from their government and what our government currently is. And to your point, Trump's intention of like owning the libs by sending National Guard into New York City as like a fuck you to the place that elected a somewhat leftist mayor.
They're doing a good
That is
job
nothing-
of countering him, though.
But what I mean is that has nothing to do with what like Americans want. It's only what like a little
Politicians,
subset
Right.
of like MAGA own the libs people want, which is really kind of like Twitter brained and some politicians. Like it's not what
Yeah.
You ask someone in Texas, do they want us sending the National Guard into New York City?
Yeah.
Probably not. Like, what do they fucking care?
Yeah. I mean, the reality is, and I believe this, is your op kind of agrees with you on a lot of stuff. If you're MAGA, like, there's some parts of liberal society that are appealing, and vice versa. Liberals think MAGA are the worst, but like, there's some parts of their thinking that like it's not illogical. To send off the dogs to like the, like there should be some sort of border control system that like is efficient but doesn't let everybody in. Every country does this, right? Like, if you wanted to work in London or Tokyo or Spain, you would have to go jump through some hoops. It's possible, but it's hard. And I still believe in the idea of this country. I don't believe in this regime. And sending muscle out to cities that are liberal and don't need the muscle is kind of like low-hanging fruit. I love the Portnoy aspect of this because it's hard to really model New York as a hellscape when he's like, Series Pizza is the best pizza I've ever had. Everyone come and try this slice. Also, Donald Trump forever. And I'm like, and this is what I mean. Eventually, you talk so much where you become hypocritical. And there's a difficulty in sticking to the script when everything kind of bleeds over everything else.
Well, I think Donald Trump's messaging about bringing down the price of eggs or being the peace president were really effective rhetorical tools when going against both Biden and Harris. Those were places where they were woefully bad, refused to change their position, and Trump exploited that to siphon off some votes from that may have gone to them otherwise.
But this is an old playbook. This is 1984, right? This is war is peace. I am only the aggressor.
But hold on, where I'm going with this, though, is that those were smart campaign strategies that were very obvious as targets because of who he was running against. Mm-hmm. But when he's in power now, nothing he's doing is popular. That's the thing that's kind of almost jarring about.
Yeah,
I thought this guy was this incredible political animal, and it's like everything he's doing is hated by most Americans, including his own party. His Israel policy is revolting to everyone in America except for like a tiny smidgen of people who are on board with this shit. His border stuff, no one likes the ICE shit running around and yoking people up, except for like a tiny group of Stephen Millers. That's not even a band. This is like,
well, yeah,
that's not popular. No one likes that shit. It's like a tiny sliver of people like, oh, hell yeah. I love seeing middle-aged Latino women get yoked up by a bunch of burly dudes in khakis and
yelling about liberals with their faces
tech
covered.
Vests.
Nice job. Real tough.
No one really. Americans aren't that bad that we like this shit. Americans don't love genocide, and they don't love seeing masked guys in a quasi militia yoking up citizens. I mean, there's some few people who do, but not many.
I mean, never underestimate the child brains of your neighbor, of yourself, whatever. Are we in an alien? Am I the alien? But I think hypocrisy is like a tough thing to talk about because it exists in various forms, and incriminating forms or non-incriminating forms. Sometimes it's problem solving, sometimes it invalidates an opinion. It's tough to win, right? A defending champ has to deal with something else. We talked about this in the book, right? Does my life get better if the Knicks win a championship? In the present, yes. In the future, definitely not. It takes away identity.
It does feel as if the horseshoe theory, which I don't really think existed until more recently, has rejected that idea that, like, all right, we're sort of sick of just rooting for a politician to win and we get to cheer for them and buy the hat.
Mm-hmm.
we actually want something a little more substantial because they've perverted this idea so badly. Like they didn't even give people anything. It's just like, you want to own them? You want to own the conservatives? You want to own the libs? And I feel like, as we're saying, like Tucker Carlson has dropping some heat. It's like, because he's talking about economic populism. He's talking about Gaza. Like these are things that are popular with Americans. Trump, he hasn't had a good idea in a long fucking time.
And I'm glad you put it that way, because he has had some very, for certain people, romantic ideas that are easy to talk about and get behind. They launch 1,000 newscasters, right? And like Tucker's fate is probably uneven for him, but he ends up in a better situation now because now he's the other, right? Like the Sex Pistols were designed to sell expensive clothes. They're a revolutionary idea, but in the end, they were made to sell very, very high-end clothing, right? And it's weird to see My Chemical Romance headline MetLife Stadium. Like, where's the resistance? And to find it, you would have to look harder and harder because of, we talk about this all the time, flatness and everything. But the motivations of someone like Andrew Cuomo or Donald Trump are as simple as they seem. It is vanity, it is legacy, and it is wealth. It's comfort. Trump does not care about, obviously, safety. Trump cares about you caring about safety so he can siphon more money off of somewhere else.
Yeah, so when the National Guard, does in fact come to New York City, you're probably going to leave. You're going to head to the hinterlands.
Wow.
There's this tweet that you brought to my attention by a guy named Alex Thorne. His handle is Intangible Coins. I don't know if that's some crypto shit.
I'm sure.
But he says, might have a guess. There's a disease that infects some 28 to 32-year-olds in New York City where they decide they don't want to grind and instead, quote, need to be near the mountains, so they move to Boulder, Colorado, or some shit. This has one-shotted many young people who could have had great careers and made lots of money. Andrew, you stuck it out. You didn't become a mountain brother.
Yo, I am a Zoran fan, not because he's the mayor of the Commie Corridor, but like he actually talks about the usability of New York City, the what problems we have in staying here, because we all want to stay here. That tweet is an evergreen tweet. I think it pops up every month, every week, every generation, whatever. There's always a Patti Smith telling you to skedaddle. And then there's always a Patti Smith saying like, I didn't skedaddle, you did. You're weaker than me because I had that grind in me. These are all tricks. Do what works for you. The most heartbreaking thing is someone who has to leave who doesn't want to go. And I think that is something mayors should figure out. If you want to stay, we should make it slightly a tick easier for you to stay. Not a gift, but like, what's sending you away? It's like, I couldn't get a job. I'm down a couple $100 on my rent. Like, we can work on that. I like mayors who talk in those terms.
Yeah, I agree. Because what's not said in that tweet is the idea that, well, New York is for everyone. It's for everyone. This should be a city that
aliens
you want to
and
come
predators hanging out. Yeah.
You want to get money. You want to have a good career. You should just be in New York City.
I agree.
And it's like, well, but that's not true, right? Like, New York should be for people who like the idea of New York City, who like taking public transportation and like, exploring neighborhoods and socializing, and it shouldn't just be for people who are like, I'm ambitious in terms of my career. I want to be rich. Well, then you need to be in New York City. That's kind of what he's saying, and I just disagree with that.
Yeah,
that's not what the city should be for. You should be able to go and live in Boulder, Colorado, and figure out a way to be rich there too.
Yeah.
If that's the goal, if you want to be like a successful professional, go and live in Rochester, New York. That should be an option.
The R-bomb. Yeah, and there's gaslighting everywhere, right? You have MAGA people being like, well, if there's a socialist mayor, then the rich people will leave and you'll be stuck with nothing. I'm like, that's not true. And then there's other people like the meme guy online being like, hey, if you really want to make money, you got to stick it out. And I'm like, you guys are all so annoying. Everyone can you just like contribute in a small tip your bartender is all I'm saying.
Buy some cookies merch. Pay it back. Pay it forward. Whatever.
Carl Anthony Towns is your new favorite player. You're a Broadway fan. The drama. Or cookieshoops.com.
It's funny, I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they're like, no, rich people are going to leave. They're already, in Puerto Rico. They're already offshoring their money. I'm like, so you're saying it doesn't matter who's mayor? Like,
right, because he's not mayor.
Well, that might be the one that, really gets them, like, but you're saying they're already doing their darndest to avoid paying taxes, and they always will, regardless of who's mayor.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but if it's Zoran, like maybe, they'll even do it more. I'm like, that doesn't sound like something anyone should be worried about.
Because billionaires got to be billionaires because they're morally sound.
Well, it's like we got to make sure that, Zoran isn't, going to go a step too far in the whims of the billionaires will then turn against their magnanimousness towards their city. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. These billionaires don't like us. They're not here because they're the Medicis of the modern era.
I flip-flop on this conversation all the time because I have Zoran fatigue, and this is what they want. So I'm like, I'm back on Zoran. And then I have Zoran fatigue because like, oh my God, I can't talk about this. But then I'm back because that's what they want. And it just comes down to, I have not heard Cuomo or Adams talk about our visceral daily lives. Make fun of Andrew Yang all you want. I get it. But he actually talked about like, hey, you guys don't seem happy at all. Like, go to a movie. Kick that clanker out of your house and like cook a meal. Touch pasta noodles.
I mean, I think Yang ultimately succumbed to like tech brain bad ideas, but there is an argument that his sort of day-to-day man on the street as a way of presenting himself to the electorate was something that Zoran was able to use and turn it into more of an actual, leftist presentation.
Yeah.
But Yang was able to go from an absolute unknown to, a presidential candidate who was on stage by just pushing UBI. Yeah. He's like UBI, 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 UBI. He just pushed one idea over and over and over. He talked about, daily life. He talked about making people's happiness, improving, even if incrementally is still an improvement over just getting a hat that's not even a Cookies Hoops hat.
It doesn't say basketball on it.
Because that's happiness.
And I get so exhausted because now Trump is like, oh, we have this fake surplus. Y'all are getting checks. And I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. It's like, but not that socialist guy, but I'm sending all you guys checks. I'm like, okay, just send them. You're not going to send them, but send them.
Fine. Yeah. Send the check, dog.
He sucks, man. I don't like him. Trump.
Well, look, if he does get you a check, you should be able to.
I'm flipping.
You should be able to spend it. You should be able to spend it on streetwear. It's the streetwear summer right now. All of your faves are doing events here in New York City. We've talked about this. Oh, the rich and famous, the billionaires, they're all off cliff diving, in Italy, they're in Greece. The real ones are here, and the culture is thriving. We got ALD with Raekwon.
The chef.
We got Kith doing their fashion show with Jordan Clarkson and
Jim Jones in the house. Right.
We got Awake, and even though they suffered a devastating defeat in the New York versus New York tournament against Team Cookies,
wow.
They managed to pick themselves up off the floor and did an event with Jordan Brand that transformed Seward Park, home of another Cookies Hoops tournament, into a pink-shrouded playground with basketball hoops and food and revelers.
Yeah, and the National Guard wasn't needed to shut it down. Right. Yeah.
All due respect to Virgil, streetwear is alive and well, Andrew.
I was gonna say, like a dumb take that a bunch of people had that I agreed with was like Virgil's death, tragic death, was not the beginning, it was the end. And it very well was, I think. I think years after that incident, his death, I think what we're seeing is, I hate to sound like this dude, but like a monetization of really lovely ideas. And Virgil had a huge impact commercially. Like, I'm not saying he didn't have shoes that didn't sell out immediately, or head houses that were in it to make a profit, right? He was hired to make money and he made money. That said, he also had a tether to a community and a language to talk to them with that felt real and authentic and lovely. It was the right man for the job, and I think we're missing that kind of soul. Um, I like youth culture. I like all this stuff. I'm logging in. I'm checking it all out. But the Siegelman Stables kind of wealth infiltrating the Nolita streets and the money it takes to put through to stage one of these collections, one of these brands, one of these businesses is breathtaking. They're just not three cookies interns in a cage. This is corporate world.
Yeah, I think what's also visible in New York City is that we know the relative ages of the people who are working on these projects and
They're our
what they
friends,
hold
man.
dear.
Yeah, we grew up with these guys.
Yeah, what they hold dear.
Yeah.
And it's the Clips, it's Jim Jones, it's Dipset, it's Wu Tang, and I feel like yes, they have replaced, I don't know, Bob Dylan in an ad or whatever. These are our versions of our childhood
Smith.
heroes.
Yeah.
And when you get a chance to work with them, when you're in a creative position, how can you say no? Of course, you want to work with Raekwon the Chef. You love Raekwon the Chef. How could you not work with him?
I mean, there's certain stages of my life that I can identify loving Raekwon the Chef, only built for Cuban links, incredible, to hating it because there had to be more. I was like, my identity cannot be my past. I have to grow. I don't want to get old. I'm scared of death. All this stuff. Now I'm like, bring it on. That's wonderful music. Raekwon is a wonderful artist that changed my life. Only built for Cuban links was one of my favorite things to listen to. You put it on, joy comes into my being. So I get why we're mining our childhood like this. But it's important to remember that album came out 30 years ago. And a lot of these, go ahead.
No, you're 100% right. This isn't about these artists not being great. It's not about their artwork being unable to withstand the test of time, because it has. Like, it straight up has. Cuban Links
awesome. It's fucking awesome.
It's a great album.
Sounds great.
Like, new Supreme Clientele is coming out. I'm like, I heard the first song, I'm like, sounds cool because it sounds like something on the original Supreme Clientele. Great.
Which was already old
amazing.
by that time. Right. He was an old head then.
So I get all that. I just do wonder with New York, where's the next generation of this? What's the iteration that is it, ASAP Rocky in a Spike Lee movie? Is it French Montana and the Kardashians? Like, how do we move past this era? We can still celebrate it, but it feels like everything is still so honed around like 95 BPM.
Huge shout out to our friends at Telfar and everybody it took to build that wonderful, wonderful brand. And they just had their, I believe, 10-year anniversary in Van Cortlandt Alley, the only alley in New York. And it was awesome. It was wonderful to see our friends walking in those clothes, and a celebration of a real kind of underdog story. That said, that's old now, and I don't want to be the person who just sees something new and was like, that's whack, it's played. But I agree with you. I'm grateful. This is my inside the NBA take, which is if Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal want to court this discussion, go away. It draws a line, and you have gone that side. I don't have to think about you anymore. I don't have to think about Taylor Swift or the Kelsey brothers. Shout out to those wonderful, talented people. But we've drawn the line, and I'm not interested. So when you have Raekwon, I'm like, I understand this language, and I have decided personally that I will not invest in this. Um, that said, It feels like I'm standing nowhere. I'm an alien ship drifting through space because I'm like, not no pun intended. What happened to standing on the corner? That was like a cool summer. That band, that movement. Our buddy Hua wrote about them for the New Yorker. It felt like something new was happening, and that kind of disappeared. The new jazz as an event, as a person to person feeling in New York City was so cool. That was like 10 years ago now. Time flies, but where's the new shit?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly there, and it's just
Frost
not
Children.
necessarily well attached to those kind of brands we're talking about, right? Not to say Telfar, I'm sure it is, but I'm saying those other brands that are now run by people who are, skating and rap heads from the late '90s. We understand their worldview, but I mean, there's raves in Brownsville, man.
Yo, absolutely, right? There's parties, there's new ideas. I kind of like try to find it through my resources. It's happening, but and this is the old head in me. I'm just like I can't latch on to anything really like a face hugger. I'm a wandering face hugger, Ben, with no
You're
more
just an alien who has killed all of his idols in an empty spaceship painting on the walls.
That's a melancholy scene. Not to be weird, but you know how the space huggers kind of hatch from the little pods? Imagine them hatching to nobody and just like popping out and be like, oh, I guess I'll just die hungry. Maybe I'll make this emo song before I go.
Poor face huggers.
But where's the new shit? I mean, okay, I know you know a lot about smaller brands. You go to search out a lot of smaller kind of burgeoning ideas. What am I missing?
Well, I mean, I can't say like specifically you're missing this thing.
No,
I
no,
think
no.
it's just that.
And one mixtape
It's-
meetups.
Well, I'm saying I think it's stuff has moved, and I think the main old head critique of downtown Manhattan is that there isn't as much stuff that's like right there. We're like, oh, heard about this cool party. I'm gonna go and grab dinner and then walk over there. But there's still some of that around. But like, I don't know, it still falls into the category. It's like if you're not staying out till 3 a.m. and you're not willing to go to a bunch of shitty parties to find the right one. It's like, okay, this is in a closed restaurant in Little Italy. This one is down in the Fidei. This is that. If you're not chasing parties and you're going to Travis's stuff and you're going to whoever's thing, then you're like, oh, this event, they've got members of Wu-Tang there? Okay, all right, that's on my radar.
Right.
Like, you just have to be in that mix, which I'm not in that mix at this point. We're talking about people who are 25 years old and running around the city. They could probably tell you 7 things that are going on every day.
Absolutely, especially like we still have heads in it. Shout out to True Panther Records and all their awesome ideas. But my question to you is like, after hearing you say that, is it a drug problem? Because we're not drinking as much anymore as a whole. I think that's good. Drinking sucks. But when
I don't know, man, because again, there are literally like gay fashion raves going on in Brownsville. Everyone's using tons of drugs. It's there. It's still there, like it always was.
But I'm not talking about
I'm not even talking about corporate raves.
I'm talking about drugs that affect our personalities, right? Because cocaine and alcohol create a certain vibe in your night. If someone shows up and they're like, I got a bag and I got a open tab.
That
You're
shit
like,
is 100% still around.
no, I'm saying, right? But like the kids aren't as interested in our drugs. Why would they want to take our drugs? Right? So they're taking their own drugs, but their own drugs have a different experience attached to them. So a rave in Brownsville makes sense. But like you said, it's not in front of you. It's not on Lafayette Street. You're
Right.
not walking
Yeah.
by and it's not there because it's different.
I'm just gonna say I don't think their drugs have pivoted that
You think
much.
it's still
I think,
like beers? You think it's still Red Stripe?
you think you think it's still Four Loko?
I mean, I'm sure if ALD had a party, they might serve Red Stripe and have like.
Well, as a larger point, I think there are generational changes, right? Where it's like people are drinking less and they're socializing less, and there are motivations for that. It may
Online
be
more.
they just, but they're on their phone more.
Yeah.
They're more isolated from their friends. They are poorer. They literally don't have the money to go out and do things. Whatever. There's access. There's a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Which it may not be just, hey, we're young and we aren't into drinking anymore, which is like what people like to say about, say, the OKC Thunder. And it's like, maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. Maybe this is about basketball players of today versus the past. Maybe it's not just about young people. There are a lot of moving parts in this conversation. I just mean, in New York City, I think young people are drinking. I think they're doing coke. I think they're doing a bunch of drugs. I just don't think that the young person who comes to New York City and wants to go out and socialize is living that differently than people were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, etc.
I may have phrased that incorrectly because I agree with that. I'm saying, you know, that meme of the point of view of the DJ? It's like your worst nightmare at every party is the locked in minimal house expert. And it's got that guy just nodding his head looking at the DJ. That has become like more present in my life where everyone is so locked in and like an expert. And where that was the kind of outlier, I'm just like, these kids are so smart and so they process things so much faster than I did that they can look at a runway show with Jordan Clarkson and immediately figure that puzzle out, being like, oh yeah, no. Where I would be like, is that the new New York Knicks guard in a fashion show? They'd be like, Clarkson in this shit? All right.
Is that a walking bucket I see? Well, look, you know who's locked in, Andrew, and it's you. You're also locked in. It's the absolute depths of the NBA offseason. It gets no rougher than right now because summer league is done, training camp hasn't started, nothing's going on at all. There's like a few, outstanding restricted free agents at the negotiating table, and that's not interesting either. So we're in this content mill. So we've got Jordan Clarkson, Kith, New York City, streetwear. It's as good as we got right now.
Jalen Brunson hoisting up trophies at Nike tournaments in Siegelman Stables hats. Yo.
That's as good as it gets. This is the best of the best.
And is it because there's no cool New York players? Like, is it the God Squad just being like, oh yeah, I'm repping this brand that is like they own horse stables and they're also into basketball and they're from New Jersey and the family's very wealthy?
I don't know. One thing that may play a role in this, and I don't know if it's true or not, is that NBA teams have almost no contact with their athletes over the summer. If the athletes want to go and work in a facility with their teammates, of course that's available and there'll be coaches and people around. But they don't do media things. They just sort of roam around. And it feels like, to almost contradicting that last point, it's like, yeah, a lot of these guys are just in the off season recuperating and lifting weights and taking shots and chilling out. It's like Paul George is the only one we've seen waddling with a knee brace into a club in Greece or some shit. Like, where is everybody else?
This is what I mean. Where are the interesting characters? Like,
There's only
Not
one.
Michael Porter Jr.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. But it's like me asking if why I'm not thinking about the Knicks because there's no one that interesting on the team currently. They're great. I'm grateful for them, but like the the evolution of being a celebrity basketball player has gotten us to this point where it's just like I don't want to be KD. That's a lot. I don't want to be Michael Porter Jr. That's a lot. Paul George. I don't want that smoke. And there should be a downtime with everything. There's a time to rest, not to be a Porter Jr. Dan over here, but this is our Sabbath, right? We have to gear up for the heat coming our way.
Well, yeah, one question here about your boy Michael Porter Jr. If we're going to talk about the biggest characters in New York City basketball, I mean, you could add even the Liberty into this. They've got some stars. Where is Porter Jr. just in terms of personality? Where is he now? Like, you could say he's behind Brunson, Hart, Cat, Sabrina. I mean, he's made real inroads immediately upon being traded to the Brooklyn Nets.
It's hard to figure out, right? Because I agree, but he's laughed at.
Yeah.
People aren't psyched on him. People are like, he's such a clown on a team that is pretty unsure about what they're doing. He's fascinating. I would rank him number one, to be honest, because I'm more interested into what he has to post on social media than Jalen Brunson. Even though Jalen Brunson's a content guy with his own pod, he doesn't do anything on there that is usable for my fandom.
Again, there's nothing going on right now. Have you seen, like, the worst of the worst is the redraft. A cheap ploy for engagement. Let's redraft. Let's do the re-roundables for the 2025 draft. I know it just happened a year ago, but let's redraft them. Let's redraft them again.
And always a way to create controversy and a discussion, because I believe you're referring to the 2024 redraft posted by The Athletic.
Oh, no, I was thinking about the Quo Big Board, but go on.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's perfect. Never have to redraft that. That is as is.
Just
no
one
salt
shot,
and
one
pepper
kill.
needed. Clear the hot sauce off the table. The dish is perfect. But this redraft, man, it was cowardly because the one omission was Alex Sarr out of the top 10. It only did the top 10. But to make up for that, the Rookie of the Year is number one. Ariza Shea, the number one pick, is number two. I love this shit, man. You put up that gruel, and I'm gobbling it up.
Pause. I think...
What? Gobbling. Everyone gobbles. Martin gobbles over here.
Was it Michael Porter Jr. that just paused gobbles the other day? I think it was, actually.
Did he?
Really trendsetter, this guy. Face of New York City basketball.
Globe gobbles. Gobble.
But I was going to say, like, I don't even want to do the indignity of going through their redraft. I'm more thinking about this as, like, the most desperate content-filling season that you can. Like, is there anything more cowardly than the redraft? Is it the top 100 ranked players? Like, these are the absolute nadir of basketball content. Just ranked lists.
I was talking to some banker the other day, curious about all these funds, and he's like, "Oh, we got a new one. It's the S&P 500 2000." I was like, "The fuck is that? That sounds like an email address." And he was like, "Well, it's the S&P 500 that we know, and 1,000 other companies." And I'm like, "So it's the top 2,500 companies that you guys can find? Isn't that just every company?" He was like, "Yeah, it seems like an overall market fund." And that is kind of where we're at in the NBA season, right? It's just like, all right, are you guys ready for the top 150 players of all time? And we're just looking for Tatum. We're just looking for Embiid, Paul George, players we love or love to hate.
Yeah, it's it's not ideal for a basketball podcast, but this is where you separate the wheat from the chaff.
Whoa, you have to pause that. I don't even know what those words mean. You got a big pause that.
No, I was just going to say we're clearly the
No
chaff.
chaff.
We got,
No chaff.
We got nothing. We're chaff.
Yo, if you wanted to step into my NBA brain, you would be bored to hell, but it's a lot. It is so boring. I am on this sports card scene, man.
Oh yeah. Let
Yep,
me cut
this is
you
what I'm
off.
talking about.
Look, Chaff Holmgren. Let's just end this right now.
I've been dropping in on collectibles, big pause.
All right, let's talk about Rivals Week.
All right.
Another fake content source, but we've got it.
All right. So, I kind of hear old heads when they're like, there was real rivalries in the 90s because there was some bad blood, man. Like, as a New York fan, the Pacers and the Bulls. Ooh, Ouija board, dartboards, little pinpricks on Jordan sneakers. That is something I think the NBA really benefited from. I'm trying to bring it back.
So the rivalry week, or Rivals Week, actually, 5 days, 11 games, and they are all nationally televised, and it happens in late January. Just to give you some context of when that is, it's after the in-season tournament. It's before All-Star. They're just throwing in a little dead zone. Like, all right, rivalry week, Rivals Week.
Smart.
Sure, makes sense. The main issue with it goes back to your initial point there, which is that a lot of these are just kind of good games or somewhat interesting games. Like, yeah, I'll watch the hell out of 80% of them, 90% of them. Bucks OKC, yeah, I'll probably watch that. Okay, that's cool. You've got two of the top, 3 MVP candidates. It's not a rivalry. It's not a rivalry at all. There's no sense of rivalry in the least, but I'll watch it.
Mm-hmm. Just no Celtics game, I noticed. Did I miss that?
No Celtics game. But I think the main issue to me is that the NBA doesn't seem to want to reward like fighting or fouling.
I was going to say, if you want rivalry, send
beef.
someone out there to throw a punch.
Well, that's what I mean. They don't seem to want beef. They want the idea that, like, oh, it'd be fun having Houston play against Detroit because the Thompson twins are on the respective teams.
Yeah.
And that's not a rivalry. They're just brothers. They're friends. They're cool. They're literally twins. They're as close as human beings can be. That's not a rivalry.
Right. If they want to get rid of fighting and gambling, then we're going to go for siblings who get along, or
it's not a rivalry.
Yeah, for players who are cool with their former teammates. I was just like, well, obviously this is going to be Lakers, Celtics. This is going to be Knicks, Pacers. This is going to be Knicks, Bulls. But none of that stuff, right? And like, maybe my mind's playing tricks on me and I'm thinking too much about long ago time. But anything, right? Like, what other things can they do to just drum up some chatter? Rivalries, right. In-season tournament. Should it be like Superstar Week, where each team anoints their number one player and whoever scores the most points wins? I don't know,
Your Superstar of the Week of Superstar Week.
Yeah, if you're gonna have Player of the Week, be like, it's Superstar Week. Brunson versus whatever.
Remember that almost happened 2 years ago. It was like a Kobe-related anniversary, and Embiid and I think, was it Luka and Cat? Everyone just started scoring like 60 points a game, and we all realized like these guys could sort of do it every night if they just kept checking.
Yeah.
Like, you could. You want to go for 60, fine. Just play 36 minutes and shoot every time you touch it. It just doesn't work because you have teammates and everyone's trying to get paid here and get touches. No one will ever want to play with you if you just go for 65 a night. But in theory, you probably could.
I mean, yeah, like my take kind of stays the same here. If the motivation of the NBA is to drum up more attention and capture more casual fans than they have yesterday or the year before, I think you just have to mention these players' names more. Like, quit with the brands of the Bulls, the Knicks. Say Brunson, say Luca, say all the names, give them nicknames, create personalities like K-pop, create worlds within worlds, right? You need to build up this world where there's always Cooper Flag coming up, and it's like, ooh, the simple characters, right? The unknown, the villain, the hero, the old guy, the magician, anything. Just mention names because the league is full of interesting characters. Trae Young.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I looked at that schedule. I was like, the Knicks don't play the Pacers, the Knicks don't play the Pistons, and the Knicks don't play the Hawks. And they play Philly, that's okay, whatever.
That's
they
not
had
bad.
a memorable series. But, like, when you talk about the spiciest of rivalries, they aren't really represented here. Like, I want to see Detroit against the Pacers. They hate each other. They almost fight all the time, going back to Malice in the Palace.
That's
They
the one.
always have beef. They yell about playing with Legos, whatever. But at the same time, when I was thinking about, Houston, a lot of these are just reliant on teams having like one dickhead. Like, does Houston still have a grudge match against Golden State if Dylan Brooks isn't there? I mean, I know we can use KD versus Curry. Like, that was a no-brainer that they just didn't do. I'm like, that's insane.
I know.
That's just insane to not have Houston Golden State. But I'm like, is it still spicy if Dylan Brooks is on Phoenix?
Right? And I looked at that schedule and I'm like, okay, can you take any cross section of a week in the NBA season and call it Rivals Week? Because this doesn't seem extraordinary. It's any week at that point. Because you would just name two players and be like, ooh, that's an interesting matchup. I'm like, it is. Paolo Banchero versus Jimmy Butler is interesting. It's like, ooh, are they rivals? I'm like, sure. But they each want to win.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, for me, I think there are certain teams, primarily Houston and Orlando, who play a style of ball that makes other teams dislike them. And that's how you get naturally occurring rivalries that aren't just based on, oh, a guy went from this team to the other one. That's cool. Like Lakers against Dallas, Luka going home or vice versa. Great. That's a good rivalry. We have a narrative there. But just like teams that actively want to fight, I feel like those have to occur. You got to say, you're going to have to go out there and play Orlando twice before this game. And by the time you take on Orlando on national TV, you are going to hate them so much that you're just going to fight. And we want you fighting.
And then they should surround this Rivals Week with as much stuff as they can, like beef stew versus Legos. You have Malik Beasley, if he's in the league, versus a gambler, gambling. Zion Williamson versus adult workers. Like, you got, Zion Williamson has rivals, but they may not be on the court.
Another chaff-ass content thing here.
Pause.
Knicks 2 marquee games, opening night and Christmas. Why are they playing the Cavs for both of them? What's that about?
Top two teams in the East? I don't know. We know it's the Hawks. And the Hawks are the top team in the East, and then the Cavs, Knicks, whatever. But
No, I think there's a very good chance that the Knicks and the Cavs have the two best records in the East. That's very possible.
Prediction. That's the prediction.
But really,
So
Knicks Cavs on Christmas and opening day? Like, they're really trying to create a fake rivalry here.
What if they send the memo out to Mitchell Robinson being like, we're going to fine you, but we'll pay you back. Can you throw a punch at Mobley, please, in the first game so we can build up the second game? Like, we got you. We'll suspend you. You need a break anyway because those knees not looking good. So we'll suspend you like 10 games, pay you back, just throw a punch at Donovan Mitchell.
Well, they're clearly just swapping in the Cavs for the Celtics because last 2 years, I believe, the Knicks opener has been against Boston. I think that's the case.
We keep having to say this. I think the Celtics are going to be kind of good this year. I don't want to let them off the hook. They should win 50 games.
Fifth seed.
45
Fifth
games.
seed.
They should be in the mix, and I don't want any of this. It's like, whoa, the Celtics are surprising everybody. You're right. They should be playing the Knicks.
I'm saying Knicks, Cavs, Orlando, Atlanta. I think we'll have a better record than Boston, and then that's where Boston will be.
Yeah, I agree. I think Boston is going to be better than the Sixers. Boston is going to be better than the Raptors. Boston's going to definitely be better than Indiana.
I think they'll be better than Milwaukee. I don't buy that team.
Yeah, come on. You got award winners all over that team. They're going to win games.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, look, Cookies Hoops has always believed in the Celtics. Don't let people tell you otherwise.
And Hyperallergic, that website wrote an article. It's like, do we have to reimagine this in this downturn of the market? Did we have the architecture of this wrong? It got me thinking about basketball stuff, as all things do.
Hold on. For people who do not have the same depth of knowledge of the art world that you do and I do to an extent, obviously not within your realm of expertise, can you just explain how that works a little bit?
Sure. If you are someone who makes a painting and you are asked to hang it in a gallery and someone purchases it, usually the split is 50-50. You get 50% of the proceeds and the gallery gets 50%. You're the creator. The gallery holds the lease, puts on the show, paints the walls, has someone staff it, and knows the person to buy it. Of course, as a painter, you can always sell a piece to a collector directly and get 100%. But if you do have a gallery, that's frowned upon, and you should split it with your gallery. It's sort of like an agent or a representative. And the agreement is halvesies. So that has always been the ire of artists because they feel like since they're the creator, they should be maybe taking 60-70%. And I know some galleries on the sly will give you an inch, but in general 50-50 is the industry standard.
Now, and is some of the frustration from artists today because, say, they have a huge Instagram following and it has no, I just mean as not talking about you exactly.
No, I do not, but there's certain artists
I just mean
certainly do. Cause
if an artist has a huge Instagram following and they put something up, people may want to buy it without actually needing to see it in the gallery. Is there like a role that the gallery used to play that maybe is less important today?
100%. Especially when there's a downturn and there's more artists seeing less money in and taking different avenues to reach collectors and succeeding and wondering what the structure would look like in the future. You know, like an artist as nuclear as Cause can do whatever business he wants, including a gallery into his fold is like a blessing for the gallery because he builds his own market. And I think it's good that artists consider this because there's something charming about independent music labels, people creating autonomy in their worlds and reaching customers directly through Etsy, through eBay, through Patreon, through Shopify. All these things are fueled by technology, but old ideas, right? And it's taken the art world as it does a second to catch up with technology. And we're here. And it is not because business is booming. Business is not booming. And
so
this is always...
So let's no, sorry to cut you off. I was going to say, I'm urging you now to segue into your basketball take on this.
The middleman, right? And we're not talking about forwards for the Washington Wizards ex-Bucks players. It is something that is interesting in the NBA because, man, I'm a fan of these players and I love making light of owners and investors and third parties that I don't even know, and they hoist up the trophy before our heroes on the court. And if it is possible for the stars of the league to jump ship and start their own league in relation to this 50-50 split, because in my opinion the 50-50 split is great. I think it puts motivational things on the table for both parties. So I think the NBA is run well, but I know there's a lot of questions.
So historically speaking, this is tied to the collective bargaining agreement and the salary cap, revenue split between ownership and the players. If you go back to the very, very early days of basketball, players weren't making that much money. Then you had the players' union, and suddenly they began getting larger percentages. So it went to like 53% in the 80s. And then it went up to its highest point, which was 57%, 50 to 57%. And that was in the early 2000s. And then you had these lockouts. And they successfully, from the owner's perspective, kept tamping down the amount that the players made out of that collective pot. And now it's around 49 to 51%. So it's kind of an even split, art gallery style, and between the owners and the players. So
a lot more players than owners.
Sure are. So when people sit here and say, I can't believe De'Aaron Fox is making $57 million, it's true. That's a whole lot of money. That will buy you a lot of Andrew Cuo paintings. It's true. Like one or two of them.
Yeah.
Painting and a half.
1.5. Yeah.
No super. Depending if you go directly through Andrew, maybe you'll get two. But keep that alone. But you got to remember, the owners of that franchise get an equivalent pot to everything that the players are getting. So if the salary cap is $135 million a year, and De'Aaron Fox is getting 57, or whatever his percentage of that would be, 35, 40%, the owners are getting the whole thing. The owners of the Spurs get 145 million, whatever it is, just to the ownership. And when you look at it that way, all these individual salaries are enormous amounts of money, but they are a fraction, of course, what a guy who may not even be able to touch glass is getting.
Yeah, and this is relevant, especially after the WNBA All-Star Game, where the players wore shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us," and the debate about the profitability of that industry, of that company, game to game, year to year, broadcasting contract to broadcasting contract. There is money there, and the players know. In the art context, the interesting debate is redefining who the worker is. And it's easy to decide with the worker in every situation, because that's where morality usually lies. But the dealer and the person who stages the show is the worker. And, I think about the argument of NBA owners, and they say, well, without the arena, without the uniforms, without the marketing, you're just a bunch of guys playing basketball. And the basketball players are saying, well, without us, there's no game. There's nothing to broadcast. Revenue sharing. Without our lowly teams, the Lakers have no one to crush. And this is a fascinating idea of a show. A band playing to nobody is just practicing. A group of people listening to music is just a party. But when you have two together, you have a show. It depends on if we still value this experience, and I think we do. So it's easy to say, without the players, there's no game. But we're not talking about the mechanics. We're talking about a dialogue.
Definitely, there is truth to that. I do think in the NBA, the players can say, well, we are the best at what we do. I'm not sure you are the best at owning basketball teams. You just happen to own them. You're not even the best at making money. You're just very good at making money, but you're not the best at it. It's like we are the best on the planet. It is a extraordinarily harsh meritocracy. Like, there's no way around it. If you can stick in the NBA and make a lot of
Don't
money,
ask Cam Thomas.
you are just incredibly good at this sport. And so you can take this moral high ground and say, well, I'm the best at what I do. If we aren't here, then you have inferior talent. If we get rid of you guys, what, we're going to have an inferior team than the Sacramento Kings? I don't believe you.
Well, context matters here. Let's say the G League and the NBA just flipped. They just switched spots like an 80s comedy.
Thunderstruck.
Right. Would we notice the drop off in quality? Definitely. But also, what goes into the experience, and this is what 90s heads would, I think, talk about, is the story, the framing, the experience of seeing the Bulls win those championships. I don't think anybody would watch a throwback game and say that's better basketball than what we just see this year. But the quality is not necessarily the discussion.
I know, but the counterpoint to that would be that those were the best of their time. So the reason that we care about the Chicago Bulls, even though they would get pasted by the Washington Wizards if they stepped out of the time machine, is that, hey, that was the best we had in 1996.
Hey, if they switch places and the G League still had the better teams, that doesn't work. They would have to switch places and end the G League. And just, I mean, this is like a corporate strategy, right? They would have to kill the most talented players in the game. Kill, not literally, but make incentivize them to stop playing. And there is attempts at this overall idea with Ice Cube's Big Three. There has been a marketing push for the G League a little bit. College basketball exists, possibly in some states bigger in North Carolina than the professional teams. That's inferior basketball, right?
Wait, are you talking about the Charlotte Hornets who are playing in rivalry week against the Cleveland Cavaliers?
That storied ball. Wait, I thought it was ball versus ball.
It is ball versus ball.
That's a rivalry. Are they just taking brothers and pitting them against each other?
Clearly. What else could it be? This isn't about Bobby Phills, rest in peace.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They've never played in the postseason ever. Not one game.
A sibling rivalry is a very famous rivalry.
Okay, we're going to get Aaron Holiday, Drew Holiday, and Justin Holiday, and we're going to get them to all play each other in a round-robin tournament. Holiday season has returned.
We're going to have a tournament where the Morris twins get to draft all other siblings. A sibling-only tournament in the middle of the NBA season. We're going to have a sibling MVP, a sibling six-man of the year, the sibling hustle player of the tournament award. It's going to go to
whatever team Seth Curry is on, they're playing Golden State. We're going to just
Still
someone
doesn't
track
have a
him down.
team. Yeah.
Someone track him down and schedule that.
Take the worst rivals matchup and make one team sign a brother. Just it doesn't matter that he's not playing his Steph. Just have a brother on there.
Just some sort of relative.
Yeah.
But also, here's the thing about the 50-50 split. Even if you were going to say, okay, it's fine. It's fine. You know, it's fair. They need each other. It's a handshake agreement. It's okay. Players, owners, it works. The main issue here is when you get a franchise that has accumulated an insane amount of value over the years, like, say, the Portland Trailblazers, home of the wildly overrated player Dame Lillard.
Ooh.
And they're being, it's like top 150 of all time.
That's good. There's only 149 players better than him. That's crazy.
That's extremely good. That's amazing to be that good at basketball.
If you're so good, why aren't you on that? Yeah.
So they're being, Paul Allen is selling the team, or maybe he has sold the team. I forget
the
exactly
estate of Paul
where
Allen
they are
has sold
in this process, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with the Celtics family and the Buss family. The Celtics are like Joe Celtics, it's like Jerry Celtics and his kid Jesse Celtics. but the
All
valuation has like gone absolutely apeshit, especially over the last few years, as everything has gone apeshit with inflation. But franchises that were bought for a couple $100 million are selling for a couple billion. Yeah. Dame Lillard, who as a top 150 player, helped aggregate.
He built that decade.
That franchise. It's him. It was him.
Yeah.
It's mostly him. And I mean, shout out to the Portland legends, the Bonzi Wells and the Rasheed Wallaces, but Dame Lillard doesn't get a penny.
Joel Prisbilla. Yeah, I mean,
doesn't get a penny from the billions of dollars that Paul Allen will rake in by selling this team. Dame Lillard doesn't get a penny.
There's a compelling case in Golden State, who moved to San Francisco to a new arena, whose valuation went through the roof this decade, for obvious reasons. And there was debate, hypothetical debate, being like, should Steph Curry be a sweat equity partner of this? Because without him, you have no super team. Kevin Durant doesn't go there. You have no championships. Draymond Green is not a Hall of Famer. Klay Thompson is not a Hall of Famer. And you have no arena. Like, he gave that organization leverage to act upon making more profits. And should he be rewarded? And it's different than just a good player in the NBA. Steph Curry had a hand in making his bosses a ton of money, but isn't that the agreement? If you grow out of it, then find work elsewhere, right? If you don't like my gallery, go somewhere else.
True. And of course, the NBA is ferociously protective of their monopoly. And that's where this becomes a bit more of an ethical quandary when there isn't an alternative. It's like, hey, go to another gallery.
The big three.
Well, I will go to another gallery. Okay, maybe I misspoke. Don't go to another gallery. Like, actually, I do want you here.
Right.
But the NBA is like, okay, go play overseas. Go play. And also, they have arrangements with those leagues where, like, they won't even necessarily take the same players if they aren't under contracts. Like, it's almost a global monopoly in a lot of ways.
It's not a worker-friendly company. None of the three big sports companies in America are, especially with injury and age factored in. But, like, the owners do well by staying out of sight. There's a few examples otherwise, like Mark Cuban, but he gets a lot of criticism. He has gotten a lot of criticism for his opinions and his way of conducting business. But usually these guys, when they win a championship, I was like, who's this guy? And there's a flurry of Googling, and it always trends. Like, oh, he's a real estate guy, he's a loans dude. But when owners step out of their behind the curtain, like Dan Gilbert did with Comic Sans, it kind of reveals the transaction clearer. And that transaction does not favor our heroes. We're not rooting for Dan Gilbert, even though I wish the best for him. I appreciate that he owns one of the most interesting teams in the league, but we root for the guys.
Look, and the way he came by the Cookies Hoops pop-up in Cleveland during All-Star Weekend. He can't be that bad. I know he was a mortgage king of the Midwest, but he can't be that bad if he pulled up to a Cookies book signing.
It means a lot. That does mean a lot. It's kind of dastardly in the way that I think about the marketing of Rivals Week or the in-season tournament towards team brands and away from players, because that's how the NBA protects its money, by creating the environment where we're rooting for flags and not Cooper flag, because players like LeBron James or Cam Thomas have incentives to make themselves known and make the financial agreement transparent in order to advocate for themselves. And the NBA doesn't necessarily want that. The NBA wants this imbalance to exist forever.
Alternatively, LeBron James and Mav Carter, his longtime business partner, are trying to propose an alternative league to the NBA. I don't know if it has a name yet. I could be wrong. The model is Live Golf F1, and that probably entails a bunch of money from
Sports washing. Crypto.
from Saud, from Emirates. It's probably oil money is when it boils down to it. When you go that route and say we're going to do an international basketball league that's based on Live Golf, we know how that was funded.
What about it if it was green sex toy coin? It was that green sex toy crypto.
That's it. So their plan: 6 men's teams, 6 women's teams. They will tour around and play in various international markets, I'm assuming also the United States. You will not be able to participate in the NBA if you are in this league. But their selling point is what we were just referring to, is that players get equity.
I like it. It's a good idea, and I think these ideas should always be proposed by people with influence and talent. Obviously, if this league is a hit, there's money to be made. That's when things get problematic. When you win, things get complicated. And if this league hypothetically succeeds, then there's money in marketing, there's money in insurance, there's money in arena leases, broadcast, and it's going to be a debate. And that's when you see upstart companies like The Ringer unionize. It started from a handful of people to a whole bunch of the whole cast of rounders works for them. So obviously they see the money being generated and they want to renegotiate. And I want to see LeBron try this. I want to root for more basketball, and I'm interested to see if they run into the same problems that the NBA run into.
Well, right. If the NBA is going to limit player equity, that is a toehold that a new league can say, we will allow it.
It's cool.
Remember way back in the day, like they were trying to make MJ a partial owner of the Bulls or something along those lines, and that was shut down. Like, this is circumventing the salary cap. But you look at it as like broader. It's like, no, the last thing they want is to start giving out equity to players. Like, that's the one thing that the league can't do from their perspective. So, because clearly you could give teams the option of doing that, but every team is like, guys, let's just pass a rule here, no equity for players, because like that would be an amazing bargaining chip, because these are now billion-dollar companies. If you said, okay, we're not going to pay you, but the current value of what we're going to pay you is in equity of the team. If you could add that into the salary cap, players would love that. They would, knowing the way that these have increased in valuation over 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you'd all take equity after maybe your first contract.
Yeah.
Okay, I got enough money in the bank to buy a car and a house. Everything else, equity. And after a while, teams like, we don't have any equity left. We gave it all to like the 2016 like Mavericks. There's no equity. The players own the team now. We're ousted.
Yeah. And what do the fans get, right? Like, you guys are arguing about money. Like, are we getting a good product? Is this as fun? Is ESPN even talking about this?
All right, it looks like Jordan Poole is our GM. Or maybe God damn it.
It's like, yes, I'm a fan of this new New York team. It's like, great, we just signed Michael Porter Jr. Like, ooh.
Yeah, he has equity. He runs the show.
But, like, if we talk about this idea of the band and the audience being a crucial link to this experience, I'm like, this is where Spencer Dinwiddie comes in, where I think his ideas are even more interesting and could be incorporated, not getting paid in crypto, whatever. But what if he was just like, hey, you fans you're gambling already. I'm on all your fantasy teams, or some of them. Why don't you buy shares in my game? How many of you think I'm going to score 20 tonight? How many of you think I can get 3 steals tonight? How many think I can dish out 9 dimes?
Did that fail because Spencer Dinwiddie just wasn't good enough?
the messenger, right? Yeah, he wasn't interesting enough. But if you were good enough, why would you risk anything? Um, I don't even see a player's like Grimes is not even risking much, and he's not an all-star. I think Dinwiddie had great ideas, and LeVar Ball did too, and the personnel was wrong.
The league also did shut down the Dinwiddie experiment, if I remember correctly.
They did.
But it's funny because starting a new league, as LeBron and Mav are trying to do, the equity situation is one that if you're starting from scratch, you can sort of figure out in a way that would be very difficult for the NBA to try to do now, right? Because you can say almost like a recording deal contract where it's like, okay, there's like mechanical royalties and then there's this kind of royalties. So it's like half the equity is for players on this team. And when you make a trade, you will be trading the equity along with the salary. Like you basically could create it as like a 1-to-1, right?
Yeah.
Just in theory, where it's like, okay, we have a $10 million, I mean, I'm just obviously using small numbers, but like there's a $10 million pool of equity and a $10 million salary cap. And like this player makes $2 million of each and he's traded and those $2 million go to another franchise. Again, very difficult to do now in the NBA, but if you're just going from a clean slate, you can sort of come up with some device where this would kind of be easy almost.
Would there be insider player trading? Would there be handshake deals and millions being skimmed off of top of transactions that are not being publicized?
Well, right. I think players would have to hold on to those.
Would Pelosi hear of this league and be like, I'm in. I'm so in.
All right, we got another strange whale is now involved in this.
Pelosi tracker. Pelosi player tracker.
You know what always gives
Pelosi's what gets Pelosi's attention?
Well, the answer to that is cookies.
I love cookies.
Cookies.
I love cookies. I love cookies.